Well, very good. All right, please welcome onto the programme Mr. Simon Napier-Bell himself is here. Hello, how are you? Thank you. Just to, first of all, thank you very much for coming on the programme. To introduce you to people who may not be aware, although I guess this is a name that you're aware of, you've heard of before, Simon Napier-Bell. You're one of the legendary managers in pop music. You managed, is this true, you managed the Yardbirds at one point, Mark Bolan as well, Wham, which was a particular success for you.
Yeah, another group called Japan before that.
Japan with David Sylvian. And the reason that you're here, let's just do this first, is that you have a book called Black Vinyl, White Powder. There it goes. The story of the British music industry from 1956 to today. And I guess Black Vinyl, White Powder, the focus of this thing is drugs.
It's a description of the two key things in the business.
Which are drugs and music.
Yeah.
And why do you think now drugs are so important in the music business? Why?
Drugs have really driven the music business from the beginning. I mean, the invention of rock and roll came directly from amphetamines, which were manufactured in the war for all the troops, British, American, Japanese, German. At the end of the war, there were millions, billions of amphetamine tablets left over, and so they passed into normal society in huge volumes. And it was when they were taken by the musicians from the southern United States who played country and western music that the music just got faster and faster and faster.
Oh, so it was started off by people who singing country music?
It was country music, going at faster and faster tempos. They were all amphetamines the whole time.
Wow.
And from then...
Go ahead.
Well, from then on, it's followed suit. I mean, amphetamines really stimulated rock and roll, and then later we had acid coming along and causing a whole change in the music at the end of the 60s. And then glam rock at the beginning of the 70s was really fired up by cocaine, which was not that different from amphetamine, just more expensive.
Yeah.
You had more expensive type of artists doing it, like Bowie and Bolan. And then back came amphetamines in the middle of the 70s. This disgusting pinkish grains of stuff that people shoved up their nose and made foul mucus go down the back of their throat. It was such a disgusting drug that you had to find disgusting music.
So if it's so disgusting, how come everyone keeps taking it?
Well,
is it helping the music?
This particular drug, this is amphetamine itself.
Yeah.
It was such a disgusting drug, they had to find special disgusting music to go with it, which was punk rock.
But when you first got into the business now, I heard that you worked for the Johnny Dankworth Orchestra, and you were rolling their joints for them.
Well, I was a band boy. And it was
what does that mean?
Well, it's not. It was a roadie.
Right, you're a roadie.
And it means you carry the equipment up and down 5 flights of stairs at the Llandudno Empire or somewhere like that and set it all up. But for them, the key thing at the end of the evening was, they'd like to relax on the bus going back to London with the joints, and that was another of the band boys' jobs. You were early introduction to these things.
Really? And was that not regarded, even at that time, as something very wild or very exotic?
I think jazz musicians always felt it was a very natural thing. I was very good at rolling them, terrible at smoking them. They gave me a dreadful sore throat. I wanted to be a jazz musician, so I tried endlessly, but they just gave me a sore throat.
And how did you move now? Because you've encompassed everything. How did you move out of that into management?
I went from there to being a musician myself, which is what I planned to do at the beginning.
Yeah. What did you play?
I played the trumpet, but I wasn't that good. I went off to America to do it. And,
right.
In the end, decided that wasn't really going to be. I wasn't going to be the greatest trumpeter player in the world, and so I came back to England and went into films, where I started editing films, and then became a music editor because I knew music and editing, and that just brought me back to music. And I had friends. I met friends who in the music business did have a much easier time than the film business. They stayed up later and got up later and seemed to make more money and do less, and so I joined in that.
Now, an interesting thing that you say, or I have read about you saying, is that, to your mind, the best managers are gay or bisexual or Jewish or upper class, and there was a time in management where that predominantly happened. What does that mean?
In the 60s, this is really interesting. In the 60s, all Recon was run by completely upper middle class people. It was just full of public school accents. And all these groups came along from working class and lower middle class families, and there was no rapport between them. 18-year-old working class kids trying to talk to these upper middle class 50-year-olds. And there was no one could bridge that gap. And the people who were best at bridging that gap were people who'd instinctively learnt it throughout their lives. Gays are one particular person, especially in the 60s when it was still illegal. Gay people were very good at presenting two different faces to people. And so they could make this change. Young people, Jewish people at school also were likely to have tried hard to present two faces to people. So, and there was an excellent, really excellent manager, Miles Copeland, who managed Sting and the Police. And his father was in the CIA, and they changed the country they lived in every year throughout his childhood. So every year he was going to a new school, and that's something which teaches you always to get on with every type of person you meet. He became a very good manager just because of that.
Simon, just a second. I believe Mrs Clarke is here. Mrs
Oh,
Clarke,
Mrs.
hello, how are you doing?
Hello.
Thanks for... We've taken you out of Esther, haven't we? Please welcome Mrs Clarke. Hello, how are you? My name's John. Thanks for coming in. You want to come and sit in and have a chat?
Okay.
We have a chair for Mrs Clarke.
Yes.
There you go. Oh, we're going to... This, Mrs Clarke, this is Simon Napier-Bell.
Hello.
And he's a manager, a pop impresario. My name is John. I'm the host of a digital programme.
Oh, yes.
We're on digital television. Do you have digital television?
No, but my cousin have, and I go and watch.
All right, well, you'll be on
Yes.
this evening at 11 o'clock.
Oh.
Would you like to sit down?
Thank you.
Are you a big fan of Esther's?
I do.
Yeah?
Very, very big.
Yeah?
Yes.
Are you slightly disappointed not to be there and to end up being here?
Well, no, I have to go over there. They're going to take me over there.
We'll definitely make sure that we go over.
and introduce
Yes.
her on air, aren't you?
If we possibly can, we will.
Yes.
try.
Oh, yes.
There we go.
It's lovely. Thank you. Thank you.
Have you any experience of the pop music business yourself, Mrs Clarke?
Well, yes, you know, in the old-fashioned way.
How so?
Well, I wouldn't say old-fashioned way because I run an organization in Brent, which I deal a lot with the children, and they do.
When you say deal, I wouldn't hold the cover of that book.
I love Dale.
No, I don't mean Dale.
Yes.
No, I don't mean Dale Winton.
You don't mean Dale Winton?
She means Deal.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
you mean this Dale?
No, this isn't Dale. Yeah, no. I mean deal. When you say deal, there is a double meaning to deal, which could be interpreted as dealing somehow drugs, given the fact that you're holding up that book there.
And that is horrible.
Right now, yeah, it is pretty bad. Yeah.
Dealing with drugs is a shocking.
And do you ever have to deal with that in your line of work in Brent when you see people?
You're joking.
I don't know.
I'm afraid of it.
I haven't made a decent joke in the last 10 minutes, Mrs Clarke.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm afraid of drugs. I don't want to hear the name of it.
Oh, really?
You see, anybody...
You really should be aware of what you're holding in your hand there, Mrs Clarke.
Well, I can't help it. I haven't read it, so I'm only looking on the outside. So what
the book is about
inside?
drugs. The book does not condone drug use per se.
All right. Well, if it's with drugs, and as long as I don't open it and see if it's good drugs, it's okay.
They're all good drugs.
What would good drugs be, Mrs Clarke?
Good drugs is the one that if you're ill, you take to cure you.
Oh, I see. Medicinal drugs.
Yes.
So if you're not feeling well, you can make yourself feel better.
Yes.
But if you're feeling well, you can't make yourself feel better.
That's it.
Oh, okay. A strange philosophy.
Let me ask you one last thing. You've seen this show tonight,
Yep.
the downs and the downs. Have you? You've seen the ups and the downs of the show tonight. Do you have any sense or any idea of how, if you had to manage me, what would you suggest that I do, or where do I need to go?
Well, what you're asking is, will I turn on the show and watch it tomorrow when I'm
Yes.
not on it? No problem. Where do you need to go? Well, you need to take her to Esther.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do that. We'll finish the show by
and
taking
there might
Mrs
be
Clarke
some
to
jobs
Esther.
in there, you know.
Yeah.
She needs a warm-up.
But seriously, if you saw a performer like me, what would you do with me? Never mind, I think
he's got a great manner. He's really good. You should have a good show.
I'm one of the greats, Simon, no question about it.
Very soon you'll be off choice and onto Channel 5
and onto the
upwards.
Carlton Food Network. That'll be me. We try. Little something here. Hang on a second, Simon. Thank you very much for coming on, by the way. How was it? Mrs Clarke, we're going to take you over.
He's a wonderful man. You're so great. What's your name, sir?